Want to learn how to price your tax services for profitability for this upcoming tax season? Check out the video. Hey guys, Tatiani Favors here, your tax business coach, and let's get into how to price your tax services, okay? This is such an importante, okay? Very important topic, okay? Why? Because so many of you all, and I'm speaking to somebody, if not everybody who hears my voice right now, has an issue with pricing your services. Okay, let's rephrase that. Not an issue with pricing your services, but has an issue of properly pricing your services for profitability. Okay. A lot of you price way too low. And one thing about it, I tell my one-on-one clients, I tell my Tax Boss Academy members, I tell people who listen to my free content, just like I'm telling you all, there is a mindset shift that has to take place when you increase your prices or when you start to charge. Um, I don't want to say your worth because you can never charge your worth, but you can charge your price. Okay. You can charge what you deem is a good price for profitability. And that is what I really want to get across today. We're going to talk about different methods of pricing your services and all of that. But I want you all to also go into this training with the thoughts of, okay, am I pricing for profitability? Am I actually profitable during the tax season? Could I be more profitable during the tax season? I'm not saying charge $1,500 for one W-2. That's not what I'm saying. But what I am saying is do not make your price, your preparation fee dependent upon the outcome of your client's tax return. Okay? What do I mean? A lot of people will say, oh, my client got a liability, so I lowered the price. Or they didn't get the high refund that they got last year, so I'm going to lower the price. No, 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 and double no. Okay. Your fee is not dependent upon the outcome of their return. Okay. You have the expertise, the knowledge, and you spent the time preparing this tax return. So it does not matter if they have a liability or if they have a smaller refund, your fee should remain the same. Okay. And you need to stick to your fee. Okay. So I just had to get that out. I just had to because y'all, if we're in business to make money. We're in business to make an impact, yes. We're in business to do all the great things in the community and all of that for sure. But we're also in a business to making a profit because the more profit we make, the bigger impact we can make, the bigger things that we can do for our community. And that's what people don't understand. We're in business. This is a business. This is not a hobby. Okay. It is a business. And if you are a business, then you want to be profitable. Okay. I'm going to get off my horse on this because I don't want to beat it too dead, but I just have to tell y'all this new year, new pricing. Okay. And stand on it. So let's talk about the different ways you can price. Now, these three pricing methods are not the end all be all. Okay. You can choose one of these three. You can choose a combination. Over the years, I have chosen so many different types of ways and methods to charge for my tax prep services. However, I do have a favorite, and I will share my favorite a little later. Okay. But the three pricing methods we're going to review today are one by the form, two by the hour, and three what's called simplified tiered system. Okay. So let's go ahead and review each of these pricing methods. So by the form. So to summarize this method, and you all can take pictures of the screen, but this method has a fee for each form that is required to complete a taxpayer's tax returns, okay? Which means that the more robust the tax return is, the more expensive the tax preparation fee is. And as a result, it's a more equitable, it's a more consistent, it's a more fair pricing method. Why? Because either you have a Schedule A or you don't. Either you have rental property or you don't. Okay. And so charging by the form, it really eliminates the need to have to track hourly billing, and it really makes the billing process a little easier. So let's go ahead and check out this example that I have on the slide. Okay. So when we're talking about by the form, you have a base fee. You have a base fee, and I like to call this base fee also, it can be called like your minimum fee. And what your minimum fee is, what is the minimum amount somebody will pay you for tax prep services? Okay. This is the person who has one W-2, like one tax document, no kids, no nothing, single. How much is that person paying you? I don't think it should be anything less than 250, and I might actually increase that to 3 for the new tax season, okay? But we'll go with 250 because that's what's on the screen. I don't think that you should be charging that anyone should be giving you less than 250 for tax prep services, okay? Now, there are exceptions if you have a smaller fee for, let's say, college students or senior citizens. And your family, perhaps, maybe not everybody in your family, but that would be your discernment, okay? But have a base fee, aka minimum fee. So you start there when we're talking about by the form. Then each form that taxpayer has an associated fee with it. So in this example, the Schedule A has an associated fee of $75, and I'm using very low numbers for ease of math. Okay. Schedule E, which is rental property, has an associated fee of $150. So once we add all of those, then their total prep fee would be $475. If they just had one W-2, then it'll be $250. So you see how the more robust a tax return is, the more expensive the prep fee is. Okay. And so I love this. This is actually my favorite form of charging because it's so black and white. Like I said, either you're itemizing your deductions or not. Either you have an LLC, single member LLC, or you don't. Either it's no denying what a taxpayer has. Okay. And so I love this. I love this method. Some people love it, some people hate it. I tend to absolutely adore it. Okay. By the hour, I've also tried this one as well. And one benefit to using this method is that it accounts for the tax return. It accounts for tax returns that may take a considerable amount of time to prepare. Okay. So sometimes, depending on the tax return, you might be working on a tax return for hours, maybe even a day and a half, depending upon if you need to reread some things to make sure that you're preparing it correctly. All of those things matter. But by the hour is very simple. For like this example, if your price is $75 an hour and you would choose how much your hourly price is, don't choose nothing like minimum wage. I don't want nobody to say, oh, yeah, and I don't even know what minimum wage is right now, but let's say it's $10, okay? Let's say minimum wage is $10. I don't want you talking about, oh, yeah, my price is $10 an hour when it comes to preparing a tax return. Get out of here, okay? It should not be less than 50. And that's for the people who just are super uncomfortable even charging 50 an hour. I would implore you to increase it to at least 75. but at the bare bottom minimum, 50, okay? And so say your price is $75 an hour and a return takes you 3 hours to complete it, then your total tax prep fee will be 225, okay? So it's simple math. You're multiplying your hourly wage by the amount of hours that it took you to prepare the tax return, okay? So that is the by the hour method. Now, the simplified tier system, this pricing system, it really makes pricing points a little easier for both the tax preparer and the client, especially if you decide to put it on your website or your social media, if you decide to make it public. But the thing with this system is you must define what simple is. You must define what moderate is. You must define what complex is, okay? And what they include and make sure that you are conveying that effectively on your website or on your social media or wherever you decide to publicly post your tax preparation fees. So you'll have simple tax return might be 200, moderate might be 325, complex might be 500. But what is a simple tax return? What is a complex tax return? What does that include? And so that is something that you would need to determine beforehand and make sure that you're effectively communicating that with your clientele. Okay. And so once you have chosen which pricing method you will utilize, now it's time to determine your tax prep now it's really just time to determine your tax preparation service price, okay, and what that will be. And here are a few ways to accomplish that, to actually determine, okay, what are my prices? I know what method I'm gonna choose, but what are my prices? So number one, market research. You want to research the average price for tax return preparation in your geographical area, okay? So you can use certain resources like the National Society of Accountants. They have a free breakdown on their annual report. Now, their annual report is always a year behind, but it still gives you a good idea of what people are charging in the different regions. Okay. So you can compare if you're in the metropolitan area versus a rural area, if you're in the South versus the West Coast or up north, all of those factors do make a difference, okay? And you would just want to see what other people are charging. Why? And this is why I like seeing what other people charge, not so I can piggyback off of what they're doing and what they charge, but because if my prices are significantly higher or even less, but let's go with higher because my prices are might be run a little high. If someone asks, well, XYZ tax company charges, $50, but you charge $100. Why do you charge so much? Then you need to have an answer because there's going to be a bold client one day that's going to ask you, well, why are you, charging this amount, but the people across the street are only charging that amount? Then you better have an answer on why you're charging so much. And it better not be something like inflation or because I care or something like that. Have an actual reason on why your services are considerably more than your competitors around you, especially if you want to get that client to become your client. Okay. So that's just a little tidbit. I hope y'all are picking up what I am laying down. Okay. The second way is to price your competitors, okay? And I like to this is something fun that I like to do because sometimes pricing your competitors is like an episode of Inspector Gadget, okay? At least to me, okay? Because I like thoroughly enjoy this process. And so if your competitors' prices are not listed publicly anywhere, like you go to their social media or their websites or whatnot, you can always pretend to be a potential client at your local tax prep company or even online. Okay. And you want to call up that company or go to that company to obtain what their prices are and how do they price. You can obtain their pricing and through a consultation, they should probably tell you how they price, if they price by the form, if they price by the hour, and they might not have the jargon that I'm using today, but you can surmise by what they say and get a good idea of how they are charging. Also, what does their intake process look like? How are their, how is their process? How are they onboarding new clients? What does that look like? Because the entire experience also will contribute to what you're going to charge people. If your experience is very seamless, it's very user friendly, things of that nature, then you could probably charge a little more than your average tax um company. Why? Because people pay for great experiences. You go to an upper echelon restaurant, not necessarily because the food is superior. I mean, it should be a little better, but there's also an expectation of a great experience with a more expensive restaurants or a better hotel. Okay. If you go somewhere like the Intercontinental versus the Super 8, you are expecting, I know those are extremes, but you're expecting an experience and a level of service when you go to the Intercontinental. When you go to Super 8, you're just hoping you don't see no roaches, I guess. I don't know. I ain't been to Super 8 in a long time. I heard they upgraded, but I never know. Okay. So it matters the how a company onboards their clients, how they bring them in, how they treat them. All of those things matter. So you want to take that into account. Okay. Also, what type of clientele do they cater to? Do they have a niche? Do they only handle truck drivers? Do they only handle business people, small business people with products? Like, do they cater to a specific group of people? And do they offer other services? Do they offer accounting, bookkeeping, insurance, notary, credit repair, things of that nature? Do they offer other things? All of these things go together to create what and how someone charges for their tax prep experience. Okay. And I want you all to just kind of do that homework or see how other people are charging so you'll get a better idea of, oh, okay, their prices are that high because they do ABC extra. They go the extra mile to do that. Or you might find something that's very opposite of that. But you just want to make sure that you understand what's going on so you'll have a better idea of where to place yourself. Because when you price your services, you have to be confident. If you aren't confident on what you're charging your client, then your client won't pay it. And you won't even market your tax business the way you need to market your tax business because you're not confident in what you're charging other people. If you're not confident in charging people $800 for a W-2, then you're not going to put your tax business on Jump Street. Why? Because when people say how much, you're going to be like, 800 question mark. No, 800. Okay. And say it with your chest. If you can't say your prices with your chest, then you're not going to get the money that you want and you're not going to market your tax business how you should because you don't even believe yourself. Okay. So you have to stand on your pricing. All right. Number three, the third way that you can consider when you're coming up with your prices is your own professional experience. Okay. How many years have you been preparing taxes? If this is your first year, then there's no reason why you're charging $800 for a W-2. Okay. Um, yeah, I said it and I stick by it. Okay. Also, what level of tax preparation are you proficient in? Are you only, doing simple returns or are you doing the more complex returns? Someone who's itemizing their deductions, has a business, has rental property, you're dealing with K-1s, you can even do corporate taxes. Like, what is your level of tax prep experience? And then, of course, do you prepare business returns? Because if you know how to effectively and efficiently prepare a business return, then your knowledge and experience is typically pretty vast. You're up there. So you can charge a little more. Just like CPAs and EAs, they tend to charge a little more because because they actually have a certificate saying I studied this, so I can charge more. And they should, because they have the proof that they've spent a certain amount of hours studying this particular thing. And so you're going to pay them for that. And so they do tend to charge a little more, as they should, because they have proof of that experience. But if you are confident about your experience and all of that and what you provide to your client, then you can be a more luxury tax brand. Okay. And so these are the ways on how to, the methods on how to actually charge for your tax prep services, and then actually putting a number by the method that you choose is important. Okay, guys. Again, have your pricing model together. It is still early in the tax season, so you can create your pricing model and you can go ahead and effectively implement it into your tax business. So when you start to get busy, you'll have your modeling structure all together. If you need help creating or refining your pricing, my company does that for our clients. So just comment in the comment box below. You can hit me up, Tatiani Favors, on all social media platforms, and let me know that you need help pricing.